Good morning. The committee will come to order. I thank everyone for joining us this morning, and I want to especially thank my colleagues for joining us today for the House Committee on Small Business Members' Day hearing. Today is a chance for the committee to hear directly from our fellow members of Congress about their priorities for supporting programs and policies that promote small business creation and growth. Our nation's nearly 30 million small businesses support 56 million jobs and can be found in every sector of the economy and in every congressional district in the country. On this committee, we proudly represent parts of America, from our northeastern coastal cities to our rural heartland and communities out west. And I know that when we travel back to our districts, we're eager to hear from our local businesses to understand what policies are working for them and what can we improve. For the members testifying here today, I know that you are also gathering feedback from Main Street businesses in your districts, and I look forward to hearing more throughout this hearing. On this committee, we oversee a wide range of policies and programs dedicated to supporting American entrepreneurs and small companies. We strive to support the budding entrepreneur by making it easier to access affordable loans and advocate for fair and true tax relief for small business. It is also the mission of this committee to open the lucrative federal marketplace to entrepreneurs, reduce onerous paperwork, and give small companies the tools they need to take care of their employees and build their companies. We do so while working with our Republican colleagues. Our committee has a long history of working in a bipartisan manner because at the end of the day, we all agree that small businesses truly are the backbone of our economy. They are what unify us in our work and hold together our local communities. Today, we have the chance to engage in an open dialogue on how we can collaborate to support small firms. Thank you again to all members for being with us today. I look forward to our discussion and to working on your ideas to foster an environment that promotes small business entrepreneurship and job creation in communities across this country. And now I would like to yield to the ranking member, Mr. Chabot, for his opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as we begin, I would just point out that both the current chair, Ms. Velasquez, and I have served on this committee for over 2 decades now. And we have both served as chair and we have both served as ranking member. But one thing that we do is work together in a bipartisan manner. And that's one of the reasons this is one of the most productive committees, I believe, in the House. And we're going to continue to do that. And so I thank her for that. It's been quite some time since we've had a small business committee day where we've hosted member day like this, allowing other members of Congress to come in and tell us what's working, maybe what's not working in some cases in their communities. It kind of broadens our perspective on what's happening around the country, gives us a broader, I think, worldview of things and what issues they're facing. We kind of have, those of us on the committee, we sort of have small business on the brain. We think about this all the time, and not to the exclusion of everything else, because most of us are on other committees. I happen to be on Judiciary, where we just discussed executive privilege and a whole range of things. Last week we were finding the Attorney General in contempt, and so we all are on other committees that do interesting things, and I'm also on Foreign Affairs, and there's always something happening around the world, but none of that is as important as far as I'm concerned as the backbone of the American economy, and that's America's small business, about 30 million of those. So we're here to listen today and to learn, and so I want to thank Representative Case, who had the opportunity to serve some years ago, and he had a sabbatical there for a while, and now he's back and better than ever and refreshed. And I kind of had that experience as well, except I lost when I left here. You went out voluntarily and ran somewhere else and then came back. So it's better to do it the way you did it than the way I did it. So, but we welcome you back, and I'll yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chabot, and the gentleman yields back. And if committee members have an opening statement, we will ask that they be submitted for the record. I also ask unanimous consent that Representative Sablan's statement in support of his bill, H.R. 2603, be submitted for the record. Without objection, is so ordered. I will begin by introducing Mr. Case, Congressman Case, proudly represents Hawaii's first congressional district, Hawaii. Mr. Case was born and raised in Hilo. His great-grandparents on his father's side emigrated to Hawaii in 1896 from Kansas, and his family has lived on many of the state's islands over the generations since. Before joining Congress, Mr. Case spent 2 decades at the Honolulu law firm of Carl Smith Ball, where he rose to managing partner. Congressman Case serves on the Appropriations Committee, and I'm also proud to serve with him on the Natural Resources Committee. Welcome, sir. You are recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you for that very kind introduction from both of you. It's great to be back in Congress, and it's great to be back with this committee where I spent my own time. So I proudly served on this committee, and so it's good to share some thoughts with you again. I want to share those thoughts on issues of importance to our small business community, both nationally and in my home state of Hawaii. As you may remember from my prior service on the committee, my focus is not only on keeping small business strong throughout our country, but on protecting and expanding on small business administration programs that support some of our nation's underrepresented populations, and on ensuring a level playing field between small business and large government contractors operating especially in Hawaii, issues that are not uncommon throughout the country. I want to begin by stressing that small business truly is the key to the success of our economy in Hawaii. According to the SBA, 99% of businesses in Hawaii are small business, and a clear majority of employees in Hawaii are employed by small business. These small businesses are the engine of the economy in my home state, and thus, as national small business goes, so also does Hawaii business. Given the rich ethnic diversity in Hawaii, minority-based programs are particularly important in my home state. Almost 93% of small businesses in Hawaii are minority-owned. They depend on and have received great benefit from programs such as the 8A Business Development Program and the Hub Zone Program, which help provide a level playing field for small businesses owned by socially and economically disadvantaged peoples and historically underutilized business zones. Additionally, the Microloan Technical Assistance Program has been a great help in the development of Native Hawaiian businesses, and the Women-Owned Small Business Federal Contracting Program provides federal opportunities to industries where women-owned small businesses are underrepresented. The continuation of these programs is needed to empower some of our nation's underrepresented populations that are the true drivers of Hawaii's small businesses. Furthermore, there are many great trade opportunities for Hawaii small business given its place in the Indo-Pacific region. Hawaii exported $647 million in goods to 100 countries in 2018, with small businesses generating 64% of those total exports. The state's largest market in 2018 was South Korea at $222 million, followed by Singapore, Japan, China, and Taiwan. With the world's fastest-growing global markets in the Indo-Pacific, keeping trade open within this region is crucial to Hawaii's economy and our nation's standing in the region. The State Trade and Export Promotion Grant Initiative and international trade loans have been vital components in developing Hawaii small business for trade with these foreign markets, and I urge you to continue this committee's longstanding support for these programs. Additionally, the federal government, primarily through the Department of Defense, is the largest source of federal dollars in Hawaii, and it is important to make sure that small local businesses have a fair chance to compete for defense dollars. This is why I introduced the legislation in my prior service in Congress, which would generally help to guarantee small businesses' place in federal contracting through such means as combating contracting bundling. I would appreciate working with your committee to continue this fight to help ensure that huge corporations don't just vacuum up and win all of the defense contracts, even though small business throughout our country, and Hawaii small business particularly, are equally, if not better qualified to do the work. Finally, I want to briefly highlight the importance of the SBA's contracting assistance programs in Hawaii. With 1 in 10 residents of Hawaii being a veteran, The Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business Program has assisted numerous veterans in the state transition from military service to successful business owners. It is critical for this Congress to continue our government's commitment to our veterans. In closing, thank you to all of you for your leadership in helping our nation's small businesses, which I believe is a truly nonpartisan, bipartisan effort and has been on this committee, and especially for your consideration of the needs of Hawaii's small businesses. Mahalo.
Well, thank you so much, Congressman, for coming on in here. And I'm just taking the place of the chairwoman temporarily here. But I appreciate you taking the time. And I just want to echo what the ranking member said, just how important it is for us to be able to hear about the different challenges and opportunities that small businesses are facing in every single corner of our country. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on out. I want to be mindful of your time as well. I know we're all very busy as well. So I just wanted to open it up and see if there were any particular questions for the Congressman while he's here. Otherwise, we'll take a brief recess until our other witness arrives. But I just wanted to open up. Ranking Member, anybody else, if you have any questions for the Congressman?
We didn't. We had informed our folks we wouldn't be asking any questions. We usually don't do that with the members, but
Sure.
So, and I was just thinking, I don't know when Mr. Cardin is going to get here, but I would have no objection to entering his statement into the record in full, and that way we could accommodate him and everybody else here too. So, okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
on here, Congressman. We're just going to take a very brief recess, see if our next witness arrives, and then we'll proceed. I agree with you on that.
that sounds,
No need wasting people's time.
Yeah, we can
Enter
into the record. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly as it is. So
How you enjoying it here
I'm
so
good.
far? Good.
So far, so good.
You're New Jersey, right?
New Jersey.
New Jersey,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Felt like I'd like to call the committee back to order as we have the Congressman here who was first elected to the United States House of Representatives in 2013 for the 113th Congress and has represented California's 29th District ever since, has been a leading voice representing the San Fernando Valley with a passionate commitment and serves on the Energy and Commerce Committee. I'm also a member of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Welcome to our committee. Why don't we just jump right in as we just want to make sure we're mindful of everyone's time. So Congressman, over to you. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate this opportunity. When I came to Congress, I wasn't familiar with the fact that when members in that legislative body it's not the custom and practice up here for members to actually present to the committee. So I really appreciate this opportunity that this Small Business Committee is allowing and affording us to share, because it's really important that we constantly have an opportunity to remind the people that we represent our districts, we represent our states, but we represent all of America. And one of the things that I'd like to point out about small businesses is that I think Americans don't realize how prolific and how important small businesses are to everyday lives across this great nation. Whether you're in the smallest town in America or you're in the biggest city, I think that the numbers bear out that a large percentage of the folks who feed their family are actually working in a small business. And being a representative in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, with the vast majority of the individuals who live in my district are Hispanic, it's important for me to also point out that one of the fastest growing groups of small businesses in America for the last few years and going forward appear to be the Hispanic small businesses, both women and men-owned businesses. Myself, over 22 years ago, I fed my family completely on commission of owning my own business. And it was something that I was very, very proud of. And I take that with me in every office that I've actually represented over the last 22 years. My ability to realize that I was responsible for the front end of a pay stub, that I was responsible for making sure that when people walked through those doors of my business, I had to try like you very hard to make sure that I made good decisions for everybody, not just for my family, but for the dozens of families that depended on my business staying open every time they got up and went to work, and made sure that that door was unlocked and available for them to feed their family. And that's what's going on across America. A few things that I'd like to point out that are important, not only to me and my community, but I think important to all of Americans, especially small businesses, is that the federal government has a tremendous role to play when it comes to access to capital. I remember owning my business that when I had access to capital and I had a great idea and I was able to expand my business, it was having access to capital that allowed me to move forward at the rate and speed that I knew I could and should in order to grow my business responsibly. And I remember those times where I had to wait for the capital or keep going from one bank to another, to another, to another to get that small business loan to expand my business. What happened, ladies and gentlemen, is that didn't afford me the opportunity to hire more people. Because every time I expanded my business, along with that meant that more families got to feed themselves because I hired one of their family members to work for me. And it's really important that we understand that the federal government in the greatest nation on earth has a tremendous responsibility to responsibly allow small businesses access to capital. And that might mean a small business loan of maybe $5,000 or $10,000 or what have you, that I can guarantee you that will eventually mean that that same business that got a small business loan for less than $25,000 someday is going to end up looking to get a loan to maybe buy the building that they've been occupying for many years, or to maybe even expand and buy the building next door so that they can actually double their ability to produce. And those are the kinds of things that I think that are important, not only to us as legislators, but it's important to every single community that needs to make sure that businesses are not thwarted, businesses don't slow down, that progress that people work very hard to make continues at a pace that is organic and natural to that business and to that community. So in a nutshell, to me, when I think of small businesses, I think of jobs. When I think of small businesses, I think of that business owner who knows the name not only of their workers, but actually knows the name of the children of those workers, actually knows that and comes in and says, hey, how's your mom? How was her surgery last week, et cetera. Those are the kinds of relationships that small businesses create that maybe some larger businesses are luckily and fortunate to have that kind of relationship with the people that they depend on every single day. But I think that is at the core of what makes small businesses wonderful, great, and such an organic, important part of every corner of America. So what I'm here to remind all of us is we're fortunate to be in the United States Congress. We're fortunate to have the responsibility of making policy, but let's not ever forget that every single day there are men and women in small businesses that are working 50, 60, 70, 100 hours a week to make sure that they keep those doors open, and that means that the families that work there and the community they serve are actually benefiting from that. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Congressman, for your passionate words there. I can really hear in your voice just the commitment that you have to your constituents and the small businesses there, and it really hits on that connection of just community. You know, the community that many small business owners, employees, and others are forming, and that's why they become the backbone and continue to be the backbone of our society and our communities as well. I just want to pause here before we conclude. Would any other member of the committee like to be recognized at this moment? If there are no other comments, I'd like to conclude this hearing by once again thanking my colleagues for being here today. I can hear the passion and the enthusiasm in your voice when you talk about the ways to strengthen our nation's small businesses. Many of the issues that you've raised and others have raised about affordable capital and providing these opportunities, these are the work that we here in this committee in the 116th Congress are dedicated to be able to do, working together across the aisle to give voice to small businesses and make sure they're not being left behind in any policy initiatives or in infrastructure or tax policies. I encourage you to work with our staff here, our colleagues on the legislation that we're talking about and we're trying to figure out how to address to move forward, to address the issues that you're doing, and we're going to do everything we can to work in a nonpartisan way to be able to achieve those. I ask unanimous consent that members have 5 legislative days to submit statements and supporting material for the record. Without objection, so ordered. If there is no further business to come before the committee, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.